Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Windmills, Integrating Attitudinal Disability Inclusion Training. Just a couple of announcements before we begin. First, we invite you to submit questions or comments in the meeting chat. The presenters will do their best to address these at the end of the session. Second, this session is being recorded and may be posted online or made available for on-demand access. The Windmills session will be presented by James Klingscale, State of Ohio ADA Coordinator, Kelly Jordan, Employer Services Manager for the Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities Agency, Abby Fraze, Human Resource Learning and Development Manager for the Ohio Department of Medicaid, Terry Vetter, Talent Development Program Manager, Department of Administrative Services. And now, please welcome James, Kelly, Abby, and Terry to present our session.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Windmills, Integrating Attitudinal Disability Inclusion Training. I'm Abby Fraze from the Ohio Department of Medicaid.
And I'm Kelly Jordan from Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities.
We are excited to share a little information with you on the dynamic disability inclusion program called Windmills. We want to discuss how you can integrate Windmills into your organization. Kelly, what are some ways state agencies can incorporate Windmills?
I'd be happy to answer that question, Abby. First, I'd like to say that I've been a Windmills facilitator for several years now. And when you participate in an interactive Windmills session, you are taking steps forward on your own journey of self-discovery towards removing attitudinal barriers that often limit opportunities for people with disabilities. Today, we will show you how you can obtain the Windmills program in your organization, how it is being integrated in the DAS supervisor training, and how you can contact the Ohio Disability Program team to get a trained facilitator for your event, such as onboarding new employees or a lunch and learn program.
It really is a powerful experience. If you haven't participated in a session, I hope you get to someday soon. Today, as Kelly mentioned, we will provide information on how you can bring the power of Windmills to your agency. Through our Facilitator Skills Training Program, the Windmills leadership team will provide the training and tools to empower your staff to become Windmills facilitators.
If you would like more information on how to bring this program to your agency or a demonstration before you commit to a Windmills Train the Trainer, please reach out to the State of Ohio Disability Inclusion Team at odi@das.ohio.gov. This team is a collaborative effort among several state agencies to support the state's disability inclusion initiatives, including the Windmills Training Program. Please reach out and we will be happy to help you connect with this powerful disability inclusion training tool.
Now, let's find out more about the various ways you can integrate the powerful training tool to impact attitudinal inclusion of people with disabilities through the Windmills program. This is an important aspect of the Ohio Disability Inclusion Program's Action, Access, Attitude model to support statewide disability inclusion and talent acquisition initiatives.
Hi, I'm James Klingscale, State of Ohio Americans with Disabilities Act Coordinator. Today, we're going to talk about the Windmills Train the Trainer program. But first, a little bit of history. As many of you know, shortly after being inaugurated as the governor of the state of Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine signed Executive Order 2019-03D. And in that executive order, established Ohio as a disability inclusion state and model employer
of individuals with disabilities. Now, it established a few things, and I'll just talk briefly about some of the things that it discussed there. Number one was establish an ADA coordinator for the state of Ohio, and I am so privileged to be the person who was chosen and appointed for that position. A big feature of the executive order, though, is how we remove barriers, how we look at barriers and make sure there's no unintentional barriers that are not job related. Any barriers that would prevent someone to be able to be included in the things that we may take for granted when it comes to access to our programs, services, and activities. Those barriers should not exist. And of course, no barriers to the employment process. So upon taking this position, I created what I call action, access, and attitude for Ohio to help us achieve those goals that we just talked about. But perhaps, as some would say, the biggest elephant in the room is our attitude. What is our attitude like when it comes to individuals with disabilities? Is that a subject that we're familiar with? What is our awareness level? And what are some of the perceptions that could be barriers for individuals with disabilities to be included in our state activities, including employment? The wonderful thing about addressing those is that we have a tremendous training program called Windmills. Windmills is a very interactive training program that creates awareness, and it creates awareness for where you are. It doesn't in any way diminish anyone who participates. No, what it does is elevates our awareness. It even helps us to be aware of some of those attitudinal barriers we may not have known even exist. It helps us to create a pathway to remove those barriers. Because when the doors of our attitude are open, then all the opportunities will come together with our collective efforts. So Windmills training is a wonderful awareness training. It's interactive, it's powerful, it's impactful, and it changes our direction to a direction of success to include individuals with disabilities. With me today is two of my close friends and training partners. I have Kelly Jordan and Abby Fraze. Now, Abby's going to kick things off. She's going to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about herself and more about the Windmills program. She'll be followed by Kelly Jordan, who will also introduce herself and tell you more about how you can benefit from being a Windmills facilitator and integrating Windmills in your organization. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Hello, I'm Abby Fraze, HR Manager of Learning and Development at the Ohio Department of Medicaid. Also, the chairperson of the Ohio Disability Inclusion Program Training Work Group. I've been a Windmills facilitator for almost 9 years. As a disability inclusion advocate, I'm excited to share with you an overview of the Windmills Disability Awareness Training Program. So, do you want to be a facilitator of this powerful program? Do you want to smash barriers and bring disability inclusion to your agency? Not so fast. The Windmills program is subject to copyright laws. This means that in order to have the right to facilitate the Windmills modules, your agency must purchase the Windmills kit. The kit includes a comprehensive curriculum guide, which provides step-by-step instructions on how to deliver the module, including module objectives, typical uses, facilitator notes and scripts, discussion points, and a summary. Each module also includes a section on legal implications and may provide language from the ADA. There is a guide for each of the 12 modules included in the kit. The introduction of the curriculum guide provides valuable insights to the facilitator. It includes the history of windmills, training goals and objectives, and common users. This also includes tips for the trainer on how to study and use the guide. It provides techniques that have been proven successful with windmills training, such as selective active listening, the structure of questions, to lead rather than lecture, and modeling disability inclusive language. The kit also provides templates for a windmills pre- and post-survey. As you can see, the kit provides valuable tools necessary to plan and prepare for facilitating windmills training courses. This kit may be purchased by the agency for a one-time fee of $550 as of December of 2021. Only one kit is needed per agency. However, multiple staff may be trained as facilitators. So who should be a Windmills facilitator? As said before, the most effective Windmills facilitator is one who has excellent communication skills, a disability, or is a strong disability advocate. ADA coordinators, EEO officers, HR trainers, labor managers, and other human resource personnel. Essentially, anyone with a passion for disability inclusion are all appropriate candidates. Most importantly, you. You can be a Windmills facilitator. You have what it takes to open the doors of opportunity for individuals with disabilities in your agency.
I have often called this training the door opener. And I call it that because of the reaction of the participants. When people give the feedback that I really appreciated this training, it helped me to see things that I couldn't see before. It helped me to value people for where they are and recognize, and this is important, that we have more similarities than we have differences. When we talk about individuals with disabilities, we're talking about people. We're talking about people who want opportunities, people who want to work, people who want to access the same programs and services that people without disabilities want to access. And so this Windmills training will help us to identify even perceptual barriers and remove them.
Many agencies would like to employ persons with disabilities, but find that fears, biases, and myths create barriers in the hiring process. The training focuses on attitudes and human factors while addressing concerns including legal requirements and accommodation. The modules primarily consist of exercises relevant to everyday world of work to which participants can relate and then remember on the job. The Windmills program also incorporates language and requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Americans with Disabilities Amendment Act, ADAAA. Windmills has a proven history of assisting those with and without disabilities to better understand the culture of disability in the workplace. It is best defined as an employer-employee training tool designed to change attitudinal barriers and create a new perspective on the unique abilities of individuals. It accomplishes this by offering modules wherein participants and a professional trainer interact. Although there are 12 modules, training sessions may vary from a single module to several modules, or all of the modules in one, or a series of workshops. The modules can stand alone or be combined in any configuration to meet the needs of different target populations, including middle management, personnel staff, and first-line supervisors. The program is also designed to allow modules to be used to supplement and enhance ongoing training programs. The most effective Windmills facilitator is one who has excellent communication skills, a disability, or is a strong disability advocate. The Windmills training program is a high-impact, powerful, perception-changing disability inclusion training curriculum. The program consists of 12 modules that use interactive, participation and discovery as learning tools. Windmills is based on the concept that attitudes about persons with disabilities are instrumental in forming behaviors towards individuals with disabilities. If employers change their attitudes they have about persons with disabilities, they will be more open to changing their own behaviors. The Windmills program will promote the employment and advancement of persons with disabilities. It is designed to change attitudinal barriers and create new perspective on the unique abilities of all individuals. Although there are 12 modules, the training sessions may vary from a single module to several modules, or all of the modules in one, or a series of workshops. The 4 modules that we will focus on for this Facilitator Skills program include the Story module, Pick a Disability, Profiles, and Disability Fact or Fiction. The Story module is an icebreaker exercise that allows participants to realize that they have all had experiences with disabilities or persons with disabilities and can identify with the importance of disability inclusion. Story module is not intended to be a standalone module, but a warm-up exercise to lay the foundation for more in-depth modules. Pick a Disability is one of the most popular modules of the program. This powerful interactive session examines stereotypes associated with common disabilities and illustrates participants' emotional reactions to specific disabilities. It helps participants understand how an individual's prior perception of a disability can keep successful applicants with disabilities from being hired or promoted. The Profiles module examines how stereotyping of persons with disabilities may impact employment decisions and teaches participants to evaluate on a case-by-case basis each person with a disability. Disability Fact or Fiction is a diversity, disability inclusion exercise wherein participants complete a questionnaire and review their knowledge about disabilities. The goal is to become more comfortable and effective in our workplace interactions with people with disabilities. Participants become aware of respectful etiquette and language for creating a comfortable work environment, and they learn the basics of disability employment law. These sessions, whether conducted live or in a virtual environment, will enhance awareness of cultural diversity, examine personal attitudes and biases towards people with disabilities, and provide information to better understand the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA.
I love this training because it's proactive in its approach. And I'll just briefly talk about some of the benefits that you might receive from being a Windmills facilitator and bringing that Windmills training into your organization. Now, as a Windmills facilitator, you will get the opportunity to present this information in front of your organization and perhaps others, and you will be a change agent. You will be someone who helps to promote disability inclusion, and you will receive the feedback from participants I find invaluable. It helps me to be a better trainer. It helps me to be more sensitive and aware myself of people's perceptions and people's willingness to be a part of the solution to promote disability inclusion.
Hello, my name is Kelly Jordan, and I'm a business relations specialist for the Southeast region with opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities. I have been a Windmills facilitator for about 8 years. At Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, we use the Windmills program to help employers address attitudinal barriers and implicit bias about working with people with disabilities. I have witnessed firsthand participants' attitudes, understanding, and comfort level working alongside people with disabilities transform through their participation in this interactive program. I am excited you are taking this step in supporting your agency's efforts to be an employer inclusive of people with disabilities. Collaboration. Representatives from multiple state agencies will be participating in the Windmills Facilitation Skills coursework. This presents a unique opportunity for agencies and Windmills trainers to collaborate and support each other's efforts in breaking down attitudinal barriers towards people with disabilities. With the permission of your management team, you can offer training facilitation support to other facilitators. One idea for collaboration is to invite other agency staff to attend a Windmills session facilitated by your agency. For example, the Ohio Disability Inclusion Team has been invited to facilitate Windmills during special events for several agencies such as the Department of Public Safety, Department of Developmental Disabilities, and Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, to name a few. Sometimes the agencies use the program to train specific staff, such as human resources staff, to aid them in interviewing during the selection process. You could also invite other Windmills trainers to facilitate a Windmills session at your agency. The benefit of this collaboration is the increased opportunity for disability awareness across state agencies, including your own. It is also a tremendous learning opportunity for you as a new trainer to learn from each other, pick up tips and techniques used by other trainers, and to get more practice in a variety of settings with a varied audience of participants. To help connect the different agency trainers, the Ohio Disability Inclusion Team has developed a Microsoft Teams site as a communication resource. This resource will give you access to other Windmills trainers as well as supporting documents such as evaluations and respectful language tips related to disability to assist in your training facilitation. It is also a great place to communicate through Microsoft Teams chat with other trainers to share ideas and get support. It will also provide tools, resources, and support for all Windmills facilitators.
The Ohio Disability Inclusion Team is committed to develop a network of Windmills facilitators to provide this dynamic program to agencies throughout the state. This is part of the state's effort to fulfill Governor DeWine's vision of becoming a disability inclusion state and model employer, as outlined in Executive Order 2019-03D. The ODI team will provide tools, resources, and support for all agencies and their facilitators. A team in Microsoft Teams has been created as a central hub to communicate, collaborate, and coordinate with the ODI team and other Windmills facilitators. One of our new Windmills facilitators recently took advantage of the resources and communication features of the team's site. She was interested in launching a Windmills initiative in her agency and didn't really know where to start. She found information on the Microsoft Teams files to help her draft a proposal of the Disability Inclusion Initiative. Then she used the posting feature to reach out to other facilitators for support in facilitating the sessions. James, Kelly, and I assisted her in the pilot sessions. These modules were a huge success, and she plans to provide more training opportunities to her agency in the new year. Now I will go into greater detail on what to expect from the team's site. The Virtual Windmills Facilitator Group is a channel within the Ohio Disability Inclusion Training Workgroup. As a facilitator, you will have full access to the resources in the team and be able to communicate with other facilitators in the chat section. The Files section provides information including disability inclusion, etiquette and language, resources, facilitation materials for the 4 main modules, and video resources. Review the folder entitled Disability Inclusion, Etiquette and Language. This will help you to learn about and incorporate language that supports appropriate etiquette and inclusion. Being familiar with these recommendations will assist you with using appropriate language and in developing openings and closings for the selected module. View the video section to help solidify the overall purpose of facilitating Windmills. There you will also find discussions of tips and best practices to aid you in becoming an excellent Windmills facilitator. Review the Microsoft Teams Breakout Rooms job aid included to assist with making the breakout rooms you will need for the applicable breakout sessions, including fact or fiction and profile modules. What is not included are copies of the modules from the Windmills Curriculum Guide, also known as the Kit. This is because these documents are subject to copyright laws and should not be shared electronically. You will find templates for charts that are needed to facilitate story, pick, and profiles. For example, in the folder Facilitation Materials for Story and Pick a Disability, you will find the facilitator guides and the matrix for both pick and story modules. The matrix are the tools you will use during your discussion, and you should practice using them with your virtual note taker. In rare cases, you may have to take your own notes. The questionnaire and answer key for fact or fiction are also included in the facilitator toolkit. The facilitator guide will give you an in-depth information about each module. Look over the information and pay attention to the details. Organize your presentation and practice plan to follow the facilitation steps in the facilitator guide, and time yourself to be sure you can complete the module in the allotted time. Reach out to experienced facilitators for advice and help, including taking the training lead as you begin the process of live facilitation. The resources are continually being updated, so be sure to check the team site for new and additional information. If you ever need help or require a lead facilitator, feel free to contact the team. That includes James Klingscale, Kelly Jordan, and myself, Abby Fraze. The Windmills corporate training is designed to open the door of opportunity for individuals with disabilities and promote attitudinal acceptance in the talent acquisition pre-hire, onboarding, and retention process. Incorporating Windmills training in a virtual setting supports the state's disability inclusion initiatives by helping to foster an environment of inclusivity, supports employee disability disclosure, encourages enterprise training collaboration, raise awareness of unintended biases impacting applicants and employees with disabilities.
It's a big win for disability inclusion that Windmills is integrated in the foundational principles of supervisory training. Yes, that shows a real commitment to disability inclusion and a real commitment to attitudinal inclusion. To tell you more about how this is integrated into that training, I'd like to introduce Terry Vetter, a Windmills facilitator. Terry.
Hello, my name is Terry Vetter, and I am a Talent Development Program Manager for the State Human Resources Division at DAS. I am a part of the Learning and Talent Development team, and we manage the Lead Ohio program, which is designed to meet the professional development needs for supervisors, managers, and executive leaders at the state. We have been using the Windmills content in the Lead Ohio program for 5 years. We began our work by focusing on the Foundations of Supervision program. The program is mandatory for all state supervisors who have been newly hired or recently promoted. 3 modules were selected to be integrated into the curriculum. At the time, all the courses we held were led by on-site facilitators, and the modules added to the Appreciating and Valuing Our Differences course were identified to leverage the face-to-face dynamic of the Foundations of Supervision program. The selected Windmills modules included Tell a Story, Pick a Disability, and Disability Fact or Fiction. During the classes, we could see learners recognize the importance of being a disability-inclusive employer. They began to feel confident in the process of supporting team members who disclosed specific needs. The outcome of adding these Windmills modules to the Foundations of Supervision was twofold. The Tell a Story and Pick a Disability modules provided learners an opportunity to discover the impact of unrecognized needs on their employees' level of engagement in the workplace, while the Disability Fact or Fiction module provides a forum for a robust discussion about both the supervisor's responsibilities in the workplace and the legislation that surrounds these expectations. In the last 2 years, we've transitioned our curriculum to new platforms. The Lead Ohio program now offers both virtual classes hosted via Microsoft Teams and the e-learning modules that enable independent learning. The curriculum of both formats has been updated and streamlined to engage learners. Both the virtual and e-learning modules include Disability Fact or Fiction, while the virtual course continues to begin with the Tell a Story module. One wonderful byproduct of the change in structure to the virtual class has been the insights that learners shared during Disability Fact or Fiction. Time is provided during the activity for supervisors to share examples of how they've seen a principle from the activity in their work or their personal lives. The stories they share not only bring energy to the module, they also provide great best practices for others to consider and adopt. Our work integrating the Windmills modules continues. The next steps for the Lead Ohio program is to add modules to the Inspirational Leaders curriculum, for example, the calendar game and the reasonable accommodation activities. Please let me know if you have questions. I look forward to exchanging ideas.
Interactive training. Windmills is an interactive training geared for discovery through dynamic interaction, and audience participation is crucial to the training's success. This participation is necessary for the training to have the greatest impact on the audience and lead to their personal growth related to attitudinal inclusion. The training is not intended to be a lecture and does not simply feed information and facts to the audience through a slide presentation. Rather, through guided conversation, it leads the participants on a journey of self-discovery. As a Windmills facilitator, you play a critical role in orchestrating this participation and creating an environment that feels safe, inviting, and non-judgmental. The environment must be free of criticism. Setting the right tone of acceptance from the beginning will go a long way in encouraging your audience to open up and share what may be some of their private thoughts, feelings, and fears about people with disabilities. As the facilitator, you will encourage participants to express their feelings and opinions. Because you are asking your audience to share their personal thoughts and perceptions about people with disabilities, you may get some unexpected or sometimes offensive comments. For example, I was facilitating a Windmill session, and one of the participants said if he could pick a disability to have, he would want to use a wheelchair so he could sit around all day and collect a check. As a facilitator, you must remain neutral and afford each of your audience members a respectful environment. If you are easily offended or emotionally reactive, Windmills facilitation is not for you. The point is to meet each audience member where they are, wherever that happens to be, and help them take a step forward toward a better understanding and acceptance of people with disabilities in the workplace, and help your agency work towards the goal of creating an environment of attitudinal inclusion.
Through interactive exercises, participants are able to identify emotions, stereotypes, and attitudinal barriers that may negatively impact their interactions with persons with disabilities. Through group discussions, the participants will reach an understanding of those attitudes and learn methods and techniques to improve communication and relations. The title Windmills is derived from the literary classic Don Quixote. This is a story of a chivalrous madman, Don Quixote, and his simple peasant sidekick, Sancho Panza. We see them ride through La Mancha, engaged in crazy adventures. But the best known of their exploits is the tilting at windmills, where the hero of the story believes humble windmills to be evil giants. Therefore, the creators of the Windmills program, their main goal was to slay the dragons of misunderstanding created by fear, myths, biases, and stereotype. And with your leadership, facilitating this program can help smash the invisible barriers and promote disability inclusion within the state of Ohio.
Just share a brief story with you in an employment engagement. Fortune 100 company. And they say, James, we've had some success hiring people with disabilities, but where we need more help is once they're here, how we treat them. And then this individual, she shared this story. We had a holiday party, and many of us, our associates came, everybody's having a good time. And we had one associate who did come, who was blind. And something that I noticed is I was one of the few people who interacted with them that entire night. Most people ignored him. He was left out. That's why that company thought it was important to have that kind of training. You see, it's not just about hiring or leveling the playing field when it comes to accessibility, physical accessibility. It's about also, what do we do when they're here, when they're seeking employment, when they are employees, when they're seeking our services, our programs, and our activities, and they may need a reasonable accommodation.
Steps to incorporate Windmills. Windmills is an excellent tool to help you in the development of your agency's disability inclusion program. It explores attitudinal barriers, increases self-awareness of implicit bias, and creates new perspectives on the abilities of people with disabilities. Changing attitudes changes behaviors, and these can lead to the employment and advancement of people with disabilities. Leadership support of incorporating Windmills can play an instrumental role in helping your agency's professional development and disability inclusion programs. Helping leadership to understand the benefits of this training will elevate your chances in obtaining their buy-in. In my agency, the leadership buy-in begins with our executive director. His belief in and support of this training has led to Windmills being incorporated into our new employee orientation. Every new employee in our agency, regardless of their position, participates in Windmills training. If you are interested in obtaining your agency's leadership buy-in for Windmills facilitation, you do not have to do it alone. The Ohio Disability Inclusion Team, led by James Clinkscale, can help you present the idea to your leadership team. An overarching benefit of Windmills is that the training is not just for human resources, but for all levels of employment. Regardless of their role in the agency, all employees can learn something about themselves, their coworkers, and people with disabilities. It is a flexible training that has the option of being customized. By selecting module topics that are specific to your needs and goals, Windmills can be tailored to support the increased understanding of inclusivity of people with disabilities. The opportunities to incorporate Windmills are abundant. It's a wonderful tool to incorporate into your new employee orientation to set the tone immediately with new employees that your agency is inclusive of people with disabilities. A Windmills module as a lunch and learn is another great option to continue fostering the personal and professional growth. Leadership retreats and department meetings can be another avenue to offer employees at all levels an opportunity to explore misconceptions as a major barrier to having a culture inclusive of people with disabilities. Offering Windmills in any combination of the aforementioned suggestions would be a great way to optimize self-discovery opportunities afforded by the program.
In the employment arena, it sets the stage to create a comfortable environment. How so? When people with disabilities know that you want to include them and you care about their success, it helps to create an atmosphere of comfortable disclosure. Did you know that at many times people with disabilities can be, I will almost use the word, extremely anxious to disclose their disability or to talk about it. Why so? Because they're afraid of the reaction. They don't know if this is going to help them or severely hurt them. Now imagine the employee who may need help, but they don't want to talk about it because they don't know what your reaction will be. Maybe they struggle and soon find themselves unemployed because they're struggling to do a portion of their job. See, we want to create an environment where a person's not afraid to disclose. They can reach out to get the help that they need in order to be successful. And that we value them. We know that providing a tool is a tool for success, not a tool that means that they're less. It will help us with retention because the person may not need to wait till they struggle because they know they'll find a listening ear. And very importantly, they don't have to feel left out, not included. See, Windmills is a proactive training. It trains us again to look at the possibilities, not so much at the disability.
Practice sessions. Once you complete the Windmills Facilitation Skills coursework, the next step will be for you to participate in and facilitate practice sessions. These sessions are designed to give you an opportunity to practice facilitating windmills in a safe environment before you implement it in a live setting with a real audience. The practice sessions are made up of other Windmills trainers who will act as the participants while you lead a facilitation. You may be asked to be an audience member for one of these practice sessions as well, and it's important you do that to help other trainers get the experience while you are learning from their facilitation style. You will arrange your practice session and invite other Windmills trainers to participate as the audience. Please be sure to include a few of the more experienced Windmills trainers to your practice session. You will lead the Windmills facilitation just as if you were in a live setting. At the conclusion of the session, you will receive feedback from the more experienced Windmills trainers. This feedback is an important step in helping you develop as a Windmills trainer. You will want to have more than one practice session to build on your skills. You can even team up with another trainer in training to co-facilitate and get a feel for what it is like to co-present this interactive training. Facilitation and integration. You've attended the Windmills training sessions through Ohio Learn, facilitated your practice sessions, and incorporated the feedback into your delivery style. Now you're ready to integrate Windmills into your agency's disability inclusion program and facilitate modules for your staff and possibly support other state agencies as well. The first step is to plan the session. Things to consider will be who is the audience, what is their familiarity with working with people with disabilities, how will this be facilitated? For example, will it be through a Microsoft Teams meeting? How many participants do you anticipate and what is their role in the agency? How much time do you have for the training and when will it be facilitated? What are the goals or expected outcomes of the training? If a co-facilitator is needed, who will that be and what duties will they perform during the facilitation? What materials will be needed, such as electronic charts? All of this information will help inform which modules you select to facilitate. Once you have your session planned, the next step is communication about the training. You will need to think through who to invite to the training and how they will be invited. You should also think about how to confirm their acceptance of the invitation. What will you say about the training to encourage participation? Communication about the Windmills training is a great time for you to model good disability inclusion practices by giving notice on how a participant may request a reasonable accommodation to participate in the training. To assist you with the accessibility notices, the Ohio Disability Inclusion Team has appropriate language suggestions on their SharePoint site. A vital component to the success of a Windmills facilitator lies in the preparation. Study the facilitation guide and pay particular attention to the objectives of the training, as that will inform your facilitation methods. Think through your introduction of the module and how you will set it up for the audience. Throughout the facilitation, the participants will give you nuggets to use in your closing. These important pieces of information will help shape the training wrap-up to enforce the self-discovery that was made in the training. Finally, prepare the evaluations ahead of time and determine how you will distribute and receive the evaluations from the participants. Sample evaluations can be found on the Ohio Disability Inclusion's Microsoft Teams resource site. These evaluations can help you gain an understanding of the participants' takeaways, additional trainings of interest, and inform your facilitation style for future trainings. Becoming a Windmills facilitator is an important step in the development of your agency's disability inclusion program. As a facilitator, you have an important role in leading the participants on their journey of self-discovery. By helping the audience explore implicit bias and dispel misperceptions about people with disabilities in the workplace, you are helping your agency take a step towards Governor Mike DeWine's goal of establishing Ohio as a disability inclusion state and model employer of individuals with disabilities.
I am so happy that you're considering joining us and becoming a Windmills facilitator. We want Windmills facilitation to happen throughout the enterprise of the states, boards, agencies, and commissions under the governor's authority. We want that training to be integrated into how we do business, to do that open door process and to create an atmosphere of inclusion. Thank you so much for your consideration to be a Windmills trainer.
I hope you have enjoyed learning more about the Windmills program and the process, tools, and support of becoming a Windmills facilitator. Remember, that is not the only way of bringing Windmills to your agency. There are 3 ways to integrate this powerful training tool in order to break down the attitudinal barriers that individuals with disabilities face every day. Another way to access the Windmills training for all supervisors and managers is through the DAS Supervisor Training Program, Lead Ohio. As Terry described, Windmills activities are a major part of the Foundations of Supervision and Inspirational Leaders sessions. Information on Lead Ohio can be found by emailing leadohio@das.ohio.gov.
And the third way to bring Windmills to your agency is to schedule a session with the Disability Inclusion Team. Contact us at odi@das.ohio.gov for a consultation to discuss the options for providing a Windmills session virtually or in person. We will discuss the different modules and determine the best course compilation for your needs. These modules can be used as a training for supervisors, managers, HR staff, and anyone really. OOD has incorporated Windmills as part of new hire training during the onboarding process. Windmills is a powerful tool in the Ohio Disability Inclusion Program's Action, Access, Attitude model to support statewide disability inclusion and talent acquisition initiatives. Contact us today to learn more about this dynamic program and how to bring it to your agency.